This is our Brent Avalanche 1396 grain cart. We have had it for one season, it is 1 year old, and well, this happened to it the other day. I don't know if you can tell, but the track is extremely detensioned. I can literally stick my whole hand in between the idler wheel and the track. And what appears to have happened is this block right here that has this accumulator and everything attached to it. I don't know how well you can see it right there, but the threads of the accumulator are no longer inside that block, and something has happened that allowed that to come loose and allow this track to detension. Now the story behind this is we store this at a landlord's place who is a retired farmer. So we rent a little bit of the shed space. So we went over to his shed, we picked up the grain cart, brought it back here, and when I left his place, he's about 10 miles away, everything looked perfect. I get back to the shop, and this is what I see. And it's one of those things that I felt really bad at first. I'm like, I didn't notice it. But when you're in the tractor, I'll even open the window for you guys. That's how much of the track you can see. So I've been on the phone with the dealer that we bought it from. And the worst part about this is, this thing is like 3 months out of warranty. So they're gonna have me do some self-diagnosis. I'm gonna try and take this thing apart and see if I can't get this thing to hold pressure or retension this track. If I cannot, and it's a bigger issue, we might have to have them come here. They said they will try and push it through warranty, but they can't guarantee anything. Kind of disappointing for a 1 year old grain cart to have issues like this, especially one that just wasn't used a whole lot. But they did say that Brent has had some known issues with their equalizer tracks. So we'll see. It's gonna be really, really hot today, so I'm gonna get this in the shop and let's start taking this thing apart. Completely forgot to grab the camera before I start backing it up. But I mean, I drove down the road with it like this, so I should be able to make it from there to there. There's literally oil bubbling out of it as we speak. It's all coming out the accumulator though. So I think that's where it's leaking. And under more diagnosis here, this bracket for this accumulator is loose. That means that it was loose from the factory because I have not touched that bolt. So it looks like potentially the bracket for the accumulator came loose, and then the accumulator somehow unscrewed itself from the block. So theoretically, all I really have to do is tighten that bolt right there, or tighten the accumulator, tighten that bolt for the bracket, see if I can get to the one on the back side as well, and then try and put pressure in it and see if it'll hold pressure. If that's a fix, then so be it. But I'm glad I got this on record. It is, I don't know, late August sometime that we've had this issue, because if this happens again, I'm gonna send this to Brent. I just assume everything's metric nowadays. Well, that's unfortunate. DeWalt gang. There we go. I don't know what the chance is that this is simple, but I hope it is. What's the chance that this wrench fits? 0. Well, what if I take the hydraulic hose off the back? Let's just take the block completely out and then see what happens. Did I actually get the right wrench? Nope. One size too big. Try 22. Is it 20? No way. Did they use... Well, this is coming surprisingly easy right here. Kind of doing an ab workout you guys can't see. Whew. Wait a second. Oh, yeah, there we go. Like working in luxury. Okay, hydraulic hose is off. And there is 0 pressure in that bad boy, which is good because that would hurt. Okay, it turns out this accumulator is very heavy. I wish someone else was here to help me. Okay. Well, that's interesting. So this is an accumulator. So from what I understand of accumulators, now people can put something down in the comments if I'm wrong or they disagree or I need to be corrected. But when you have a hydraulic cylinder that has lots of like bouncing forces on it, the accumulator is what keeps stuff from blowing apart. So as this track goes down the road and there's constant pressure being pushed on that cylinder, the accumulator can build up some of that pressure and not put it all to that cylinder, so that way it kind of cushions it. I know like our hydraulic downforce on our planter has accumulators. So if a rock hits that cylinder, the accumulator will take that pressure rather than bending that cylinder. Now, I think what happened is that bracket that I showed you earlier got loose, and now I can spin this independent of each other. So theoretically, I tighten this accumulator back down, I put pressure in the cylinder, or put pressure through this, open this handle on the bottom, hook the hydraulic hose back up, and I should be able to get tension back in this track, and then I'll have to obviously check on it on the following days to make sure that it maintains pressure. But I'm gonna get this tightened down. You know, I just love working on oily, greasy, leaky things. It just makes my day. So, the biggest wrench that we got in the toolbox is a 32. We do have some bigger ones elsewhere, but that actually seems to fit. Okay. I feel like something very bad's gonna happen here. One more shot. Oh, make sure it's nice and tight on there. Okay. Now what's gonna keep that from leaking again? I have no idea. There was no Teflon tape or thread locker on it, and I don't really think you're supposed to put that stuff in hydraulics. We'll see here. You know, I've started thinking about this. This was obviously like pretty loose when we put it away. If we would have drove another 10 miles with this thing, this probably would have happened last year as we were putting the grain cart away, and it would have been covered under warranty. But no, we had to put it in the shed like responsible people and not drive it around more. And now I'm dealing with it the next year. But hopefully this fixes it. If this fixes it, I can't complain too much because this was fairly easy so far. We'll see how getting it back in is going to go by myself. Oh my gosh. I didn't eat any Wheaties this morning. I only had toast. This thing doesn't look that heavy, but I bet it's 40, 50 pounds. Probably 35, 30, 40. And it's just an awkward angle, you know? Those are the worst. When it's like not that overly heavy, but it's just such a weird angle you can't get in there. Okay. To make it easier, I put the one bolt in upside down so I can reach it from the bottom. I'll put the other bolts in and then take that one bolt to put in upside down after I get everything else tightened and put that the right way up. I'm running out of arm space to wipe my brow with. It's so hot in here. We don't have any air conditioning. It's like 100 degrees outside. Wow. And we do have ceiling fans, but there's a grain cart blocking my way. Alright, new method. Wood blocks. Actually, that might work. It's not going to work yet, but it might eventually. Whew, well, I got it. Took a while, but I'm gonna thread locker the absolute crap these 2 bolts right here, because I think these are the 2 that made the accumulator get loose and then start spinning. So make sure that never happens again. No chances are gonna be taken. Yes. So here's the thing. The Einsteins that built this made that angle of that hose that goes into this block so aggressive you cannot get it installed with everything tightened. So, you know, typically I put stuff together the opposite way, I take it apart. Not in this case, and I'm wondering what kind of sideways pressure's on that hose once you get everything tightened in here. But I probably spent the last 25 minutes trying to get the thread started on this hose, and I cannot get it. You know, and it's such an easy way to get down there. You know, they put this beautiful thing right here, so that way you can't access anything, just to put the word equalizer on the side of the track. And I'm sure it can come off, but it looks like a pain in the butt too. Okay, well, all the bolts I just worked so hard to put in, I took them all out so that way I could hook up this hydraulic hose. I did leave the one in the very back in, and now I just gotta push this all back up and put all those bolts back in. Okay, finally got everything back together, got everything tightened down the way I want it. Now, I've been reading the manual. I'm a little afraid that the accumulator, I don't know how these things work exactly, but according to this, the accumulator is filled with nitrogen. And I'm afraid that maybe some of the nitrogen went out of the accumulator, so maybe the accumulator's bad. I'm not 100% sure, but I got the hose connected to that block, to the back of the tractor, and we're gonna try and tension this track up and see what the heck's gonna happen. So it said to make sure to not have the hydraulics set for over 5 gallons per minute. I'm at 2. Let's go 4.5. Let's just keep it safe. Switch this to constant. Now I don't know which way I need to go with it, so I'm gonna try one way. If it doesn't work, I'll flip the other way. Okay. Probably can't see a thing down there. Oh my God. I can't even open the handle. Oh boy. There we go. Okay, nothing's happening. Flip it back the other way. Well, we are building up some pressure. Not quite enough. So that means that I need to mess with this. This right here, there's a little jam nut. You loosen that, you stick an Allen head in the end, and that's how you adjust the pressure that's going to the tracks. Okay, got that broke loose. Now I put this in here and I turn it clockwise. So I'll check on it. And maybe I need to put a little bit more pressure through the hydraulics of the tractor too. See, here's what I'm concerned about. I'm showing over 1,000 pounds of pressure, yet there's still sag in that. What does this side look like? See how nice and tight this side is? With basically no sag at all. And that is right at 1,000 pounds, right where it needs to be. Something's still not right over here. This should not be sagging like this. So I just noticed this side is sagging, but this side is not. It's like it's not equally tensioning it. And maybe I need to drive it a little bit. I guess I'm not 100% sure. I'm gonna give the service guy at the dealership a call here quick, see what he says, see if there's something more wrong here, or if I am doing something wrong, or I just need to drive it around and let that track get realigned or something. So, talked to the service guy. He said there could possibly be some air left in the system or in the cylinder, or for the fact that the tracks are super unaligned. You can see how far I can stick my finger in there and how far I can stick it in right there. He said, go a couple miles down the road with it, bring it back in, see what the pressure's at, maybe repressurize it, and then let it sit overnight and see what happens. So we're gonna go see if I can't get this track to, I mean, there's a lot of tension on this side, but this side's kind of loose. So we'll see if going down the road fixes that, see what the pressure is, repressurize it, and then leave it in here overnight, see if anything leaks, see if we lose pressure. Well, it was cool in here. No longer. Let's get it up to speed. Kind of nervous. I can't see it. So I have no idea if it's flopping around back there or if it's kind of fixing itself. But this is what I was told to do. Let's go about 20 miles per hour. I don't think you're supposed to go full speed at these tracks on this grain cart anyways. I think like 20 to 22, I believe, is where you're supposed to drive it. I know the manual says going 21 right now, and it's empty. Well, the day just got a little bit more interesting. I'm driving around, and for privacy's sakes, I'm not going to show it, but my neighbors have about 6 fire trucks in their yard. I don't see any smoke at the moment, but something was on fire. Can't tell if it's around the house or around the barn. I don't know. I also don't know if I can make this corner with this grain cart, but we're gonna try. Well, the track looks, from what I can see turning, it actually looks halfway tensioned, so good there. I hope everyone's okay back there. Actually, looks pretty good. Still a little bit more floppy on the other side, but we are showing a little bit low on the pressure. So it wants 1,000 psi. I'll put exactly 1,000 psi in it and then see what the tension's like on this track. Honestly, let's compare that to the other side. Oh, it's hot. This side's definitely still a little bit tighter, but I'm feeling some hope here, some promise. Tension up one more time, let it sit overnight and see what happens. There we are. I'm just a hair over, but still flopping more than the other side. Maybe the pressure gauges quite aren't in sync. This one shows just a hair over 1,000, and that is so much tighter. I might push the other one just a little bit tighter yet. So the grain cart has actually been sitting here for 2 days now. I did not get to it yesterday, but by the looks of it, we are still just a little bit over 1,000 pounds on that pressure gauge, and we still got a little bit of wiggle here, more than the other side. So, but we don't seem to be losing any pressure. I don't see any new hydraulic leaks on the bottom of this track. So I think we're good to go. I am just gonna leave it at a little bit higher pressure than it should be. And then hopefully over the course of the first day of combining, this thing will get all the air bubbles out of it or whatever, hopefully return to normal. And then I'll make sure I have this hose in the toolbox of the grain cart. And then if we need to adjust it after day 1, we can. But I think we're safe to say that this thing is good to go, hopefully. It would be quite an ordeal if it went while we were harvesting. But other than that, we're starting to get stuff ready to go. This is going to be the next video right here, getting this corn head ready to go. Grain cart and tractor basically ready to go. Just got to do some basic stuff in the combine, and harvest will be here sooner than we know it. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.